In this Webflow Beginner's Guide, you are going to learn everything you need to know to get started building your first Webflow site. To begin with, we are going to get ourselves a free Webflow account. If you want to support my channel for completely free, you can use the referral link down below so that whenever you're going to go for a paid plan, I'm going to get a small commission. But either way, just click on get started, it's free on the top right, and then either just log in with your work email address or your Google account. Then you will have to answer some super basic questions which you can actually just skip, so just put in anything you want to, it doesn't really matter. And then Webflow is going to launch a quick little introduction to the editor, which you can do. But as for this video, I will just directly go to the dashboard so that we can get started building our first website. So right here, just click on new site, and then we will have to either just use any of these templates right here. Webflow offers tons of great templates which you can use for your site. However, as for this video, we're actually going to go for a blank site. So just select that right here, and then you will have to put in the name, and then we can create our first site. Now the editor is pretty self-explanatory, but basically on the left you will have the general settings of all across your website. For example, you can set up components, you will see the overall structure of your website as well as the different pages. You can navigate around them. For example, this would be the password page and so on. So on the left you have the general settings, and on the right we will later on have the settings for each of the elements. We can also set the breakpoint view right here on top. So if we want to see what our website is going to look like on mobile, then we can set that right here. However, as for this video, I will just go with desktop right here, and then we can actually already get started adding our first section to our website. So to do that, just click on plus on the top left, and then we can get started by adding our first NavBar to our website. So just drag your NavBar onto the body right here, and as you can see, I will just quickly hide the menu, hide the tutorial right here, and then as you can see, our NavBar got added. But the font isn't really the one that I want to. So this is by default, I think, the Arial font. However, I want to change that. So we could either just select this NavBar link right here and then change the font under typography. However, there's actually a way quicker way to do that, because I actually want to set the default font for my website and I don't want to manually change this every time. So to do that, just head over to the navigator on the left, head over to body, and then under body we can actually change the default settings for all across our website. So under typography I will just change the font to, let's say, System UI, and then if we wanted to we could also change the weight, size, color and so on. So I will actually just go with a normal black color right here, but as for the other settings I will just leave this as it is. So we can now continue customizing our navbar. So for example, I will just add an image right here. To do that, I will head over to assets on the left, and then right here under assets we will basically just have to drag in all of our images and all of our pictures that we want to later on use for our website. Once you've uploaded your logo, just drag it onto the brand image right here. And as you can see, by default it is way too big, so I will just make it smaller. I think something like this could actually work. However, as you can see, right now it isn't actually aligned correctly. So to change that, I will just select the image, and then on the spacing on the right, we can actually change the padding of our image. So I will just add, I think like 6 pixels on top, or maybe 7. We can also add all sorts of other elements to our website. So let's for example say that we are going to add a button. To do that, just drag the button onto your navbar. And now it got added, and now we will have to customize this. Once again, I will change the spacing so that it actually is aligned to the middle. And then we can also change the button text. So I will just double click, and then we can change this to call us. We can also change the button color right here. So let's for example say that I'm going to make this something purple-ish, maybe something like this. We can also change the borders of the button right here, so I will just make it a little bit more round. And if we would want to, we could also add some more effects. So for example, I will just add a box shadow right here, and then I'm going to make this outside. I'm going to turn up the blur quite a bit, as well as the size, and I'm going to actually set the distance to 2 so that it is correctly aligned to the middle. And then I'm going to change the color to purple as well. And as you can see, now this kind of has a purple shadow basically. Now this next bit that I'm going to talk about is super important to understand, so please listen carefully. Now each of our customized elements has their own custom class. So as you can see, for example, our button actually has the class button right here. So this basically just means that this class is going to store all of the customization settings that we've set up for this button. So if we would want to add a second button to anywhere on our website, we can just add that button, and we can now use the same style font right here by just adding the button style onto our button, and as you can see, now it got successfully updated. And this is basically super useful if you have quite a big website, so that you don't have to individually customize everything on your own. However, for now I will just delete this button text right here, and now we are actually going to get started adding our first section onto our website. So basically Webflow is pretty simple when it comes to adding elements. You will just have to add a new section for each of your elements, and then for this section right here, we can then add a new quick stack, which is going to divide that section. So let's for example say that right here on the left I will actually want to add some text, so I will just add a heading. And as for the heading style, I will make this black. And then we are also going to add a new paragraph, which now got added. And then as for the right, by the way, you can also drag this around to align this however you want to. I'm going to add an image. So I will just once again head over to the Elements tab right here. And then I'm going to add an image by simply just dragging it onto our website. So now we would just have to once again head over to the assets, and we will have to upload an image onto our website. And once you've successfully uploaded your image, just double click on the image section right here and then choose your image. As you can see, now it successfully got updated, and if we would wanted to, we could now also change all sorts of different settings right here. So I will just make the borders a bit more round, and then we could also add some borders right here. However, I'm not actually going to do that. Now as you can see, by default this text right here isn't actually in the middle, so to change that, head over to the navigator on the left, select this cell where the heading and the paragraph is inside, and then head over to layout on the right. Then change the layout to this right here, to center, and now it is correctly aligned in the middle. Now one other thing which I would like to touch on is how the spacing and padding really works. Now there are some tips to this. So for example, if you want to add padding to the top as well as to the bottom, by pressing down Alt, and now as you can see, it is going to be added for both ways exactly the same. We can also do this by pressing down Shift, and now it is going to be added for all sides. Perfect, so now that we're done with this, we can actually continue customizing our website. So for example, if you want to add an animation to this text right here, you would once again just have to select the cell on the left, and then you will have to head over to interactions on the top right. We will have to add a trigger, and I will add a page trigger, and I will just select page load, so that when our page is going to load up, our animation is actually going to be triggered. Now we will have to set an action, so our action is going to be start an animation, and then we will have to add a new animation right here. Now I will just add a simple slide in animation from the left right here, I guess. So to do that, just first of all add move, and then also add opacity right here. Now as for move, I will just go to 0.0, and then I'm going to first of all set this as initial state. And then for the initial state, I'm going to drag this to the left so that it actually slides in from the left right here. And then I'm going to do the same for opacity right here. So I will just once again set this to initial state, and then I'm going to change the opacity to 0%. Then you will have to select both elements right here and just duplicate them. Now change these new elements just to the defaults, so 0 for this, as well as opacity to 100%. And now we will have a simple animation. So just click on the eye icon on the top left to preview your website, and as you can see, now we will have a simple slide in. However, we can also make this pop a little bit more. So to do that, just head over to the move section right here, and then change the mode from linear to out cubic. And as you can see, if we are now going to preview our website, this is going to be a lot nicer. You can also basically play around with this by changing the easing mode, by changing the duration. So let's say we're going to make this 1.5 seconds, and now it is going to look, I guess, even nicer in my opinion. So basically you will just have to customize this to your likings. Now, if you would now want to add a new page onto your website, just head over to pages, and then we can add a new page right here. So maybe I'm just going to add a about us page. and then I'm just going to click on create right here. And now as you can see, it got built up. However, we would obviously want to insert exactly the same navbar from our home page. And to do that, we will actually have to select the navbar right here, and then we will have to go to components right here. Click on create new component, and then just name this navbar. And now our navbar is a component which we can then add for all of our pages right here. So just drag it onto your page, and now it got added. And if you're going to edit this navbar, it is going to be automatically synced up for all of across your website. Now before you can publish your website, you will have to go through all of the breakpoints, and you will have to customize each of these breakpoints so that your website actually looks good for all devices. Now if you want to know more about Framer and if it's actually worth using over Webflow, you can watch my videos right here.